in parental guidance. That
nice.
Look at that with the 10-cent fog effect. Whoever did that.
Hey,
wait, hang on for a second. Hey, what?
it's Corey.
I'm gonna here. Look, that fog effect cost about 25 cents. Here you go.
Corey has now officially made the most money that's ever been made in here.
Exactly.
Congratulations, Corey.
That's
You're
true.
the first person to ever be paid. Now I have tax implications.
Oh, give it back. By the way, I'm writing that off. That's charity. That's a donation. I'm writing off that nickel. All right, Philip Nelson, are you out there?
I'm here, guys. How are you?
Oh, we're
Hey, we're
fantastic. So here's the thing. I was wondering, for the horror scary show, what would Philip Nelson recommend that the kids could see? What is it?
Well, tonight's movie is 9, and it's a PG-13 film, but you know, I don't really trust ratings anymore. As a parent, I watch a movie and make a decision for myself, and I feel like this is a really good Matrix for kids.
You know what? I'll tell you, Philip, before you move on. I saw this film, didn't know much about it going in, and I really liked it. I didn't expect it to be that dark. It's basically non-stop action. There's not a whole lot of character.
It's based on a short. It's based on an animated short that was very successful.
Done by the same director.
Yeah, the same director, who apparently I was in school with or overlapped in school with. Didn't know him, but
dropping names.
No, well, if I'm doing the math, because one of the, well, actually, no, it's interesting because one of the guys who does some of the voices in the film, Fred Tatasciore, was in a comedy troupe that I was a writer for when we were in school. So there's an overlap there.
Laura Kindlinger, by the way, she's a real comic. Have you ever heard of Wade Major, the comedian?
No.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
haven't.
Stop. Just
You
because
haven't.
we're interviewing Laura later in the show, she feels she's got to
nice.
kiss your butt. She's being nice.
She's being nice.
All right, so Philip Nelson, what do you like about 9?
Well, what I liked about 9 is, as I mentioned earlier, you really can't judge a movie by the ratings anymore. I've seen some garbage that's rated G that I would never show to my kids, and I've seen some really good movies that are PG-13, and even I've found a couple of R movies that I felt, not for entire families, but for older kids, are pretty good. And so this week, as I was racking my brain on a horror film for kids, I had a list of potential movies. One that I considered was Twilight Zone, the movie, which I love, because one of the things I like about family films is movies that create discussion, and that's one of the things I liked about 9. It is a movie it's a dark movie. It's basically, you know, there was a war between robots and humans. The robots won, and there's these little burlap dolls that are existing, and basically the idea in this movie is they contain some of the essence of the last human that invented these killer robots that destroy the human race. And it is an interesting movie, and I watched it with my entire family, my 6-year-old, my 9-year-old, and my 12-year-old, and my wife, and they all loved it. My 6-year-old, she watched a lot of it through her fingers because it was intense and it had some scary parts. But it was a good movie, and, you know, I thought this is kind of a cool Matrix-like movie for kids. You know, that scary, dark future with a ray of hope kind of at the end. And you know, it was very good. So I'm going to go through the rankings as we always do on the parental guidance segment. You know, I always say this. Every parent has different hot buttons of what they want their kids to see or what they don't want them to see. So here on parental guidance, we do rank them in a couple of different categories so that as a parent, you can make the choice of what your kids are exposed to. So the first one I'm going to rank this on, and I might be getting out of order for the TriCaster guys over there, but we're going to start out with action. In this movie, we're going to give it a ranking of 5 for action. That's the highest ranking you can get because it is a lot of intensity. And this movie was rated PG-13 because of the action and the peril that these characters are in. There's fighting and people that their souls are sucked out of the little burlap characters throughout the movie. And, you know, it did spark some discussion on death with the kids. So we're going to rank it a 5 in action. The next category is language, which I'm giving it a 1, which is the lowest rating. There was not a single objectionable word in this entire movie, which I really like. And then the next category is romance. And in romance, once again, I'm giving it the lowest ranking that I can give a movie for romance, and that's a 1. There was nothing objectionably romantic in this movie. Now in the peril section, we're going to give it the highest rating of 5 because, as I mentioned earlier, you know, when these characters fight the killer robots, some of them are what you think is killed. Their souls are sucked out of their little burlap bodies, and you see the little empty shell of a burlap character fall to the ground, and it's very obvious that nothing is in that anymore and it's not alive. And so it is very perilous. And you know, but that leads me to the last ranking, which is the adult enjoyment ranking, which I give it a 4. I almost gave it a 5, but you know, I figure some people might not like sci-fi, so I do give this a 4 because it was a very interesting movie. It was fun to watch. Everybody that watched it with us really enjoyed it. And the thing I liked about it is a family movie, and one of the reasons I picked it is because at the end, and I don't want to give it away, but there's a scene where you really understand. It sparks some discussion on life and death with the kids, and you know, I think, you know, discussing, you know, interesting, important topics like that with your kids is very important, and you know, it really sparks some good discussion, and that's why I ranked it, you know, like I did this week and picked it. I think 9 is a terrific film to watch with the family, but once again, if you're objecting to violence, if you object to peril, this is not the movie for you. But if those things are okay, then definitely watch this with the family.
You know, Wade, actually, I have the 9 Blu-ray, and it is gorgeous.
Well, it's a really well animated film. Really well animated.
And
film.
again, you know, I was so surprised how cut up I was in it. I mean, I had not seen. You know, I watched a little bit of the original online before I saw the feature version, and I didn't really know what to expect, and I was just totally enthralled by it. I really didn't expect much from it. I really didn't know anything about it, but I liked it.
I'm just glad that he chose that 9 as opposed to the musical with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, that was so bad. That was the worst.
Because that's way too scary for kids.
When I saw that movie,
that's way too scary for adults.
Yeah.
I saw the premiere of that film in Westwood. This was back during the award season. Yeah. And when it was over, there was a couple of guys in front of me yelling, "Bravo," like bravo. They said bravo.
Bravo?
Bravo, bravo. And we're looking at this guy going, who are you? You know, you got to
Bravo?
Yes. Bravo. They said bravo. You got to be kidding. It's terrible. That movie's horrific.
Did it say author?
They you know what? As long as I didn't say encore, that's all I cared about.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. So anyway, so 9 is a really good pick because again, it's exciting, but it's visually interesting to look at. It's so well animated, but the kids will be able to absorb it and not have nightmares.
Great characters. The little dolls, all fascinating characters.
So anyway, Philip Nelson, that's a great pick. And now we have a 9. Wait, this show. Chock full of amazing recommendations.
It is, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. All right, so Philip Nelson, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Thanks, Phil.